Alright guys, Hayzink here, welcome back to the channel for another Street Fighter Duel video, and some potential news here, right? Bit of a strange one. So, this started off as a slow rumbling. I started to get a few messages in like my comment section, and then I started to get messages on Discord and stuff, and I guess the reason I was getting messages is because, while I don't want to say I'm the only person, but I feel like I've took quite a public stance on the whole issue with Chief Viper. Whether you agree or disagree, that's not what's in question here. It is just literally about, obviously, one thing you purchase not being the same, blah blah blah, right? So we can go over the old news about that again, or we can just move on. We're going to move on and we're going to talk about what potentially is arising from it, right? So the thing that I keep getting all of a sudden is this. So this is, I only just started seeing this message popping up a couple of days ago. So obviously people have been emailing about Chief Viper, and a lot of people have now had this reply, okay? We'd like to thank you for your patience during the process of finding the best solution, okay? So you obviously are in agreement that the solution you did find was maybe not the best solution. Your willingness to wait while we work diligently behind the scenes means a lot to us. Your feedback has been incredibly valuable in shaping our approach. It's been instrumental in ensuring that our players feel heard, valued and cared for. Please stay tuned for next week's Street Fighter Duel update. We will share with you the solution that reflects not just our efforts, but the collective input of our wonderful community of players. Once again, thank you for your patience and understanding. We truly appreciate your support. So, what does that mean? Is the big question. Now, they're talking about this. So, on Wednesday, as always, we will get a patch. And with that patch, we are going to get a new unit. Strangely enough, we are within the range of a new legendary unit. Okay? Who's that legendary unit going to be? I don't know. I've looked through the new units that were still outstanding, and from them, there's two I can potentially pick out as being a legendary. They're either going to use the Sakura as a legendary because they like to use girls as legendaries, or they're going to use the wind version of Chun-Li as a legendary, right? Because to me, I don't see them putting Flame Chun-Li as a legend and not doing it for Seafaring or Wind Chun-Li. So there's a chance that there'll be a legend coming out on Wednesday, okay? There's most definitely going to be a legend and a factional unit, or just the divination unit. I'm not nailed on if there is going to be a legend or not, right? But given with the fact that we're like a ball hair in Scotland, that's like a tiny wee bit, like a hair on your scrotum, small, or if you're me, pretty long and gangly. We're very close to the summer, right? So we're probably looking at getting Summer Young, and Summer Young is probably going to remain a factional unit, right? If Summer Young is going to come out on this update, then I think he'll probably come out with a legend, right? So they're going to make this big announcement, and there's a potential for a new legend dropping. That makes me wonder if that is possibly going to be tied to this issue, because the fact that they're announcing it in the patch notes means it's not going to be compensation, right? Because if it was going to be compensation, that's got nothing to do with the game update, right? It wouldn't be something that would be announced in the game update. That would just be news, right? You would just get an inbox, here's your compensation, an update note, something in here to say the compensation has been agreed upon, blah blah blah, right? The fact that it's coming out at a patch note, which means it's going to be something that's implemented during an update, means one of two things. Either A, they're going to patch Viper again, which, I mean, unless they put her back to doing what she did before, it's not really going to make any difference to the issue. They tried that already. Or alternatively, I was wondering if they were possibly going to do at least on a temporary basis anyway, an exchange shop where if you have Viper and you've decided that you don't want Viper, then this new legend might have the option to buy or trade Viper for. So like, as in Viper herself becomes a trade currency where you can literally go into the shop and trade her for the other legend that's coming out on sale. Again, I know it's not ideal, and I mean, it seems a bit left field when it comes to like thinking about solutions, but think about it logically, right? If they're going to implement something in the patch notes, it has to be something that they're physically putting in the game. So it's either got to be a patch for Viper, which, are they going to do that? I mean, I don't think they are, because technically speaking, if they patch Viper again to make Viper the way she was when she first come out, that means everyone who bought Viper after the last patch, their unit won't match what they purchased. So you're taking this whole group of players and making them happy, and then you're potentially upsetting this other group of players who bought her at her new patch state. So patching her again doesn't solve the issue. In fact, it creates a whole new issue. So I don't think it can be that. It's not going to be compensation, because again, why would compensation be tied to patch notes? Why would compensation be tied to an update? So it has to be something that implementing in game to people who own Viper that makes sense. And the only thing in my head that makes sense, well, there's two things actually. One is what I've said there, the exchange, okay? That one I'm not quite sure how they deal with. Like, if they did do that, would the exchange just mirror? Like, you already know your soul stones are going to be the same because it's legend to legend, that makes sense. But cars, I don't know how that would work. So unless they've worked it out somehow that if you accept this exchange, your Viper would just become this new legend and your cars would transfer over, whatever. I mean, it seems a bit too technical, but what else are they going to do? If not that, the only other thing that makes sense, and I don't know if this would even be good, I don't know, would be to implement something in game, like a special mode, a special stage, or whatever, that you can only access if you own Viper, and then the amount of rewards you get from that potentially outweigh the cost that you spent on her. I mean, that's about the only thing that makes sense. So I'm strongly leaning towards this idea in my head I've got, that they're going to do some kind of legend exchange where if you own Viper and you don't like Viper, you can change her if you like this other legendary unit better. It's the only thing that makes sense. I mean, maybe they do it for all previous legends. You can trade your Viper and choose another legend. Because I think they are very hesitant to compensate people, because those people will get to keep Viper. Doing this, you will be giving up Viper. So whatever you take in exchange, you will no longer have Viper. So they won't have given anyone, in their eyes, something for nothing. And then they won't have to worry about a whole bunch of players complaining that, oh, it's not fair, they get to keep that unit and they get compensation. That's BS. So because of this whole thing of it being tied to the patch notes, and because it's going to be something that they implement in game, I'm thinking that for a limited time, maybe for 2 weeks or something, I don't know, until the next patch, they might be selling they'll be selling the new legend for longer than 2 weeks, right? But they might be selling the legend and you will have the option to exchange Viper. So you don't keep Viper, Viper gets taken out your box and you get this new legend instead. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. I can't think of any other rationale that would make sense. And if someone can think of a more logical thing that they're doing, remember, if it was just compensation, it would just be compensation, right? There'd be no reason for it to be tied to a game update, something that they're doing within the game update to make it right. So if you can think of something else that A, isn't another change to the unit, because that makes no sense, or B, compensation. If you can think of something that's different or better than my thinking, let me know in the comments down below. But I'm going to pin my flag on this mast that I think that they're going to introduce some kind of weird exchange system that we'll be able to trade Viper. That is what I'm thinking. Now, if they were smart, they would make this new legend, if it is a new legend that's coming, they would make it pretty much on par with Viper, so that not everyone goes, oh, I'm trading that right away. Because if they make it better than Viper, then obviously everyone's going to trade, right? You may as well just take the unit and give them the new legend now. So they're obviously going to balance this somehow and make the unit, I don't want to say mid. I mean, I don't think the developers actually know what's mid and what's not mid, so they could think they're making a unit mid if they've actually made the unit fantastic. So leave them to it, right? But I cannot think of a different thing other than that. I mean, it's an absolutely weird outside bet, some kind of Viper mode, which again is just bonkers if it's true. I can't see that one happening, right? But it's got to be something they physically add to the game. So I'm thinking that they're going to do something like that, some kind of exchange system where you can go in to this temporary store that they're going to have set up, Viper exchange event, whatever, and you can click, yes, I will sacrifice my Viper and you give me this new unit. Okay, now hopefully if they do that, they have taken into account the things that I've said, like your boost stones, like your cars and stuff like that, because if not, it's going to be detrimental for you to trade. But again, it's the only thing that I can think of that rationally makes sense. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think that's possible? Do you have a better idea? I don't mean better idea, because probably loads of you have got better ideas, but I mean ideas of what could happen, not fantasy booking what you want to happen. Let me know in the comments down below. Hopefully they do actually publish the patch notes tomorrow. They don't always do that, and we'll be able to see. And if I'm right, I'm going to take this one as my most out there crazy prediction that came right yet. So we'll see. But comment down below, let me know. I've been Hayzink, thanks for watching, and on the next one I shall catch you. Good day to you. Bye bye people.